What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for stopping by the channel. I got a little bit of extra for you. It is August 5th, 2021. I am JD from New York. This is the OTS venue. I got some big stories just breaking this afternoon. We're going to go over it all. But before that, make sure you guys follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the bell for all notifications. If you guys want to go check out all the other videos that have been uploaded to the channel, Monday Night Raw, AEW Dynamite, no Tuesday Night NXT because it was painfully boring. But I'll be back live on Friday for Friday Night SmackDown. If you guys missed anything on the channel, they are all on the homepage. Those podcasts on the homepage right now. Go and check that out. Today's show is sponsored by my great friends over at Dr. Squatch. DrSquatch.com. Use code SCRIPT at checkout to save yourself a cool 20% off. And if you guys want access to the official Off the Script Discord, that will be linked in the description below. So make sure you guys go and check that out. And please be respectful. NXT seems to be on the verge of losing yet another top-tier talent. As you guys saw yesterday in my extra before Dynamite, Adam Cole, baby, may be on his way out of WWE and right into AEW, as I do think that would be the best decision for him. I said it yesterday, I'm going to say it again. If Adam Cole leaves NXT, the brand is dead. If Adam Cole gets demoted to the main roster, his career is dead. There's no future for Adam Cole, even though we all know he's a top 5 guy in this industry. Everywhere he's gone, he's had major success. No reason why that guy can't become the face of WWE, a future WrestleMania main event guy, future WWE and or Universal Champion. Pete Dunne, he may be finished with NXT. Pete Dunne's contract is said to be coming up very soon. Fightful is reporting this as of this afternoon, and one source from Fightful said that his deal is up after Summerslam weekend. So basically, NXT could be losing 2 of the top stars on the brand in the same time frame. Dunne's contract situation is said to be, and I quote, similar to that of Adam Cole's, but no other details are available at this moment. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know what the report is insinuating, but it sounds like to me that Mr. Canyon Seaman has also fucked up on Pete Dunne's contract, and he is no longer with the company. So we could be looking at a similar situation where they thought that his contract was up at another time, on another day, in another month, in another year, and they didn't realize that they were fast approaching with Pete Dunne's contract also being set to expire. As previously noted, Cole's deal expired last month, but an agreement was made for Cole to stick around until after SummerSlam weekend, presumably to wrap up his storyline with Kyle O'Reilly and go through the TakeOver show. If Adam Cole is set to put over Kyle O'Reilly, it may be a situation where Cole knows he is on his way out, wants out, and he wants to put over his best friend in the process. Nothing wrong with that, but the same thing with Adam Cole, or at the same time, I should say, Adam Cole, he negotiated a no non-compete clause in his contract. So Adam Cole has no non-compete, and he signed a 1-year extension to get him through and get Kyle O'Reilly through TakeOver. Adam Cole could have walked. Adam Cole could have said, listen, you guys fucked up. I don't even want to be here anymore. I'm out. But that's the type of guy Adam Cole is. Pete Dunne may be going through the same situation. Now, Pete Dunne isn't really in the middle of much of anything on NXT on Tuesday nights. He's in the middle of a feud with Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. They just brought Ridge Holland back into the fold. Pete Dunne hasn't done much of anything on NXT. Hasn't been in a title program outside of that Fatal 5-Way. He was only there because by default, he's one of the top names on the company. He really didn't do much of anything to gain entry into that match. He hasn't won any big matches. I don't really understand why Pete Dunne is not in the middle of anything if WWE has touted him as a top guy on the brand. Now, where does Pete Dunne go? Does he stay with WWE? I could absolutely see that. I really don't think Pete Dunne is going to be one of those guys that succeeds on the main roster at all. If Pete Dunne stays in NXT, I think this time around they really need to treat him like a top-tier guy on that brand. In my honest opinion, if Pete Dunne leaves NXT, I don't think it's a major blow at all. He hasn't done much of anything. In fact, if he goes back to the UK, I think Pete Dunne's going to find more success back in the UK than staying with WWE. In the UK, he's a household name. He's a major superstar. In WWE, as you guys have seen on Tuesday night, he's just another body on Triple H's NXT show. And there's no hope for him on the main roster, even though we all know he's a fantastic professional wrestler. Pete Dunne is in that category of Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Incredible professional wrestler. But Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard and Kevin Dunn and John Laurinaitis, they take one look at Pete Dunne and they look at nobody. They don't see anybody with potential to be a breakout guy on the main roster. They look at somebody that is a great pro wrestler and that's about it. Vanilla midget, doesn't cut it, too small, no charisma, very dry attitude, fit Finley. It's pretty much what they're going to look at. So I don't think Pete Dunne is going to be successful in WWE if he does get demoted to the main roster. And I do think if Pete Dunne doesn't want to stay in WWE, that going back to the UK is probably where he's going to end up. But JD, why doesn't he go to AEW? Why don't you see Pete Dunne in AEW? The reason I say that, guys, is because Tony Khan has so much more that he wants to bring into the company. I don't think bringing in Pete Dunne is going to be a game changer for them. Right now, they're making game-changing decisions. Bringing Pete Dunne into AEW is just AEW signing somebody because they are now a free agent coming over from WWE. It's not going to be a game-changing decision. Pete Dunne coming in, I feel like if he goes to AEW, it's going to be something where he gets lost in the shuffle. I don't think Pete Dunne has done enough in the United States to really warrant a move over to AEW and really make an impact. If he's done more in NXT, if he was NXT champion on multiple occasions, a North American champion, big deal, main event guy, Mr. Takeover, this and that, like an Adam Cole, it would be a different story. But Pete Dunne hasn't done enough. There's not enough on his resume for him to go to AEW and make a big impact. It's just going to be another guy that they're going to put in a faction and put on television, and he's going to get lost in the shuffle, and it may be years until he sees some success at a top level, in a top program, for a top title. UK is probably his best bet, or staying in NXT. He's still relatively young, man. He's not, how old is he? 26, 27 years old? Why are we rushing to bring up Pete Dunne's got to go to AEW because that's where the big boys are now playing? No. There's a lot more for him to learn, a lot more for him to do. There's a lot more room for him to grow under Triple H. There's no problem staying under Triple H and Shawn Michaels and William Regal's tutelage in NXT, as long as you don't go to the main roster. So give yourself a 2-3 year deal. Stay in NXT. Don't go to the main roster. And if you don't want to stay in the States, the UK is probably your best option. Build your name over there. Build equity over there. Get your name back on the top of the card over there. And then maybe in a year or two, AEW will come calling. I don't really see this as a big deal. I really don't. Peyton Royce. Somebody I never thought was a big deal in WWE. The Iconics. The Moronics. Yes, the Moronics, the Idiotics, the Iconics. Peyton Royce was interviewed by Chris Van Vliet, and she took time to clarify why her team with Kay, the Iconics, were broken up. For Peyton Royce, she blames herself, as she told Mr. Van Vliet last year that she wanted to go on a singles run. She told management in WWE she wanted to go on a singles run. She told Billy Kay she wanted to go on a singles run. Ultimately, she thinks this was the worst decision that she made while she was in WWE. She says this, and I quote, "So I never told anyone this, and I hope Jess isn't upset with me for saying this. I wanted to go singles. There were just things I wanted to tick off my bucket list as a singles competitor. I vocalized that to Jess in January last year. I didn't do anything about it then. I just told her where I was at. I didn't try to get us broken up or something like that. It was during the PC era and Jess was out for a week. I had this random singles match. I don't even remember who it was against. Vince loved it. He said to me, "You're so good. What are we doing?" So Vince knew right then and there that he wanted to break up the Iconics. He saw more in Peyton Royce at that time than he did Billie Kay. She continues and says this, "I just said to him, look, if it's possible in future plans, I'm not saying right now, but in the future, I would like to see what I can do on my own. I'm so comfortable with Jess. We can conquer the world together. But I wanted to see what I can do for myself. So many people were like, why did they break you up? It was so stupid. I'm like, I feel like it's my fault because I wanted to push myself and see what I was capable of. But that might have been the worst decision I made because nothing ever happened." One of the other issues Peyton Royce has dealt with since her release from WWE is how it sapped her love of pro wrestling. She admits that now she was already in the process of that prior to her release, and it was due to all the roadblocks she faced. She says this to Van Vliet, "I mean, it was completely taken from me when we got let go. But just knowing that, I felt like I had only scratched the surface with my goals, and then I felt like there was this big roadblock. It was just like I couldn't get past that roadblock. That was hard to just kind of sit with because nothing I did would let me through." End quote. I feel bad for Peyton Royce. And I've been on record. It was many, many years ago when Peyton Royce was in NXT and she had that whole Poison Ivy look about her and she was in the ring and she was getting better and better every single week. Beautiful woman that was learning how to professionally wrestle on Wednesday nights back when it was on the WWE Network. I'm like, she's going to be something. I said it myself. I even praised her week after week after week for her finishing move when it was in NXT, her perfect plex. Took a page right out of Kurt Hennig's book, the perfect plex. It was beautiful. Always really said something nice about the way she did it and how she executed it. When she was paired with Billie Kay, best friends or not, the act became a joke on the main roster. They weren't given the platform to wrestle. I don't know how good Billie Kay could have been. I don't know what her prior work was before WWE. All I know of her, and this is all I'm really judging it on, is what she did in WWE. It was, at best, awful. She was one of the worst professional wrestlers in the game while she was in the Iconics on WWE doing what she did. In fact, she probably did better as a manager slash valet or whatever she was trying to do in her final days, her final weeks in WWE. Why did they break them up? I don't know. It's WWE's motto to break up tag teams. They did it with Heavy Machinery. They did it with the Riot Squad. They did it with the Iconics. They did it with American Alpha. They did it with Enzo and Cass. You name it. You name it. WWE and what they do with tag teams is very, very formulaic. Great tag team, we got to take one and make them a singles guy and bury the other. It's like weeding out the wheat. Because they don't give a shit about tag team wrestling, and they think they know who's a superstar and who's not a superstar, and then both end up failing. Every one of those teams ended up failing. Nobody is where they should be, at all. None of those people ever made anything of themselves in WWE. Otis and Gable are doing what they're doing now at a great level, but I don't think they'll ever reach tag team gold. I've advocated for Chad Gable and Otis to be tag team champions on SmackDown over the Usos. They should have been the ones to beat the Mysterios, not the Usos. But why break up Heavy Machinery only to put Otis in another tag team minus Tucker Knight? It's WWE's mentality. They did the same thing with every one of those teams, including Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. They weren't good, but they were better together. Peyton Royce, she actually declined as far as what she can do in the ring when they broke up the Iconics. And I always said they were awful, but they were better together. I hope for everybody's case that they go somewhere else together and they show everybody, including me, how wrong we were. And I'll be the first to tell you, nothing's changed. They're just like they were in WWE, only under a different name and slightly modified in the ring. Probably going to emit the same attitude. I didn't really get it. I didn't understand why anybody thought that they were comedic and funny and this and that. I thought they were some of the worst parts of WWE television. They were a step backwards, not as much as Eva Marie, but they were a step backwards in the women's revolution of WWE. In my honest opinion, them being released, I feel bad for them. I feel bad for Peyton Royce, how she is blaming herself. There's nothing for you to blame yourself about. This is Vince McMahon. This is what he does. You had everything in NXT. You had a future, a potential in NXT. Vince didn't bring that out of you. It's not your fault. It happens to everybody, not just you. You go to the main roster, especially Raw, and you just sink like a fucking stone. Look at Cross. She has nothing to be upset about. Look at Keith Lee. She has nothing to be upset about. These guys should be on their way to main event superstar status already. Just based on their appearance and what they can do in the ring. Peyton Royce has nobody to blame but Vince McMahon. This is what he does. This is what happens when you go to the main roster. This is what happens specifically when you go to Raw. I wish them nothing but the best, but them being in WWE or them being in WWE, out of WWE, in WWE, it doesn't matter. They were a non-factor in anything on that show. But Vince doesn't recognize talent. Vince makes reckless decisions. That's the gist of it. She blames herself. Meanwhile, she should be blaming Vince McMahon. Bray Wyatt, cleared prior to WWE release. Really? But I thought he was suffering from mental health issues. And he just signed a new WWE deal as of last year. Bray Wyatt was released on July 31, shocking to say the least, citing budget cut reasons. Bullshit. Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated stated that Bray Wyatt was cleared from an undisclosed physical ailment last Thursday, July 29, 2 days before his release. Barrasso also adds that Bray also signed the new contract with the company in 2020 with the actual length and money portion of the contract not being given out in the report to anybody. The report also notes that Wyatt is subject to the 90-day non-compete clause. The notion of Bray's release being due to budget cuts was a surprise to the people in the company, as Wyatt was one of, if not number one, top merch seller in the company. I don't really know what else to add on top of what I've already stated, folks. Bray Wyatt wasn't released for budget cut reasons. And this is just another cherry on top of the bullshit Sunday, more fuel to the bullshit speculation that he was released for budget cut reasons. Bullshit. He wasn't. Bray Wyatt was let go for creative reasons. That man was so fucking protective over his character that he had to watch it week after week, day by day, month after month, go in another direction away from his vision more and more. Because Vince McMahon realized, hey, I could capitalize on this. You're working for me, pal. I'm gonna own it, pal. This is good shit, pal. So Vince took it, gave it to his team. His team worked with Wyatt. They deviated away from the vision so much that Wyatt was like, you know what, fuck this shit. Spoke up about it. WWE didn't want to hear it. They owned it. And then one thing led to another and Bray Wyatt was released. How much of that man was vocal backstage? How many times was that man vocal backstage? Stories that you and I will probably never hear. We'll never know. But I know the reports about his relationship with Vince McMahon was rocky at best. Why? Because Bray wanted something, Vince wanted something else, and Bray didn't get what he wanted. Vince always gets what he wanted. That's what led to Bray Wyatt's release. Budget cuts? No. You don't release your number one merchandise seller and say, budget cuts is the reason. That man was making money for WWE hand over fist with what he created. They didn't give a shit about it except, hey, we're going to make money off of you. We don't give a shit about you, but we care about what you've given us. So thank you. Don't let the door kick you on the way out. If Bray Wyatt wasn't in a situation where WWE was sitting around and not getting anything back on their investment in Bray Wyatt, then I would say, yeah, it was for budget cut reasons. But you can't cut somebody being the number one merchandise seller and tell me that he's not making money for you and then you're going to cite budget cut reasons. Give me a fucking break with this shit, man. Why don't people come out and just tell you the fucking truth? Everybody in the community, oh, budget cut reasons, budget. No, it's not. It's not. And then I hear stories that WWE's ready to bring back Braun Strowman or interested in bringing back Braun Strowman, but you just let Bray Wyatt go for budget cut reasons. But you want to bring back Braun Strowman, of all fucking people? I don't understand that. And this report here from Justin Barrasso, the actual length of the deal and the money that they were paying him was not specified. This only happened last year. So you mean to tell me that Nick Khan, who was president of WWE last year, and I'm sure knew what was going on as far as the contract negotiations, because this guy is fucking nickel and diamond WWE left and right, and cutting budget is his new fucking middle name. You mean to tell me that last year you signed this guy making more money than ever before? You signed this guy to a WWE deal last year, knowing and willingly giving this guy what you negotiated with him, and you were all right with it then. But this year, you're not all right with it. I don't really understand that. And the fact that it wasn't specified only really makes me a little bit more, where's the part where I should say it's not fucked up? The fact that it's not specified only adds to the speculation that he wasn't cut for budget reasons, because if WWE gave you the exact amount that they were paying him, then everybody would be like, budget cuts. WWE wants you to think that it's budget cuts, but the fact that his contract wasn't revealed, or the amount of money that he wasn't, or that he was making wasn't revealed, WWE wants you to think it's budget cuts. They want to hide it from you. Because if it's anything less than what Braun Strowman was making, it shouldn't be fucking budget cuts. Braun Strowman's contract was revealed, $1.2 million the guy was making, over $1 million. That's a budget cut. If Bray Wyatt was making $500,000 to $600,000, I don't look at that as a fucking budget cut. The fact that it wasn't specified only plays into WWE's game. Bray Wyatt was released because of creative indifference, not budget cuts. But they signed him to a new deal. They were budget cutting last year. Why is it different this year? That's what I want to know. John Cena is worried about the future of WWE, as is everybody else. He spoke with USA Today, and John Cena admitted that he wishes there was a fountain of youth so he could contribute to WWE more. Cena then expressed his concern over WWE's stability in the future due to their reliance on aging veterans. John Cena is not an aging veteran, by the way. Man, I wish there was some sort of fountain of youth where I could become a full-time contributor. The longer they continue to bet on an aging veteran, that makes WWE's future a little bit less stable. I used to chastise people for not working as efficiently as the WWE, and as a young man, I failed big. I was judgmental and I was apprehensive, and I wanted to be back in the ring because I loved that immediate gratification, end quote. Thank you, John Cena, for telling us what we already know. Thank you for telling me what I've been preaching to the choir for years. And if John Cena is out there willingly and individually saying that away from WWE, it must be true. And if John Cena's feeling it, imagine what the locker room is feeling it, because John Cena is still the face of WWE and he's still the leader of that locker room. I don't understand why people don't jump on board with this notion. Everybody cites, Bill Goldberg is back because WWE failed to bring up younger talent. They need the ratings boost. It's going to get eyes in the spotlight on the WWE and this and that and all these other fucking excuses. Whose fucking fault is that? Whose fault is that? That only shows WWE's inefficiency to build new fucking talent, to trust new talent, to work with the system in NXT the way it should be worked. Why is John Cena out here saying it? Why are we saying it? And people are still denying that this is a fucking problem. What happens when Lesnar doesn't want to be back? What happens when Goldberg can't go anymore? He can't go now. But what happens when he can't even walk anymore? How many more years you're going to bring Goldberg back? How many more years you're going to bring back Shawn Michaels and Triple H and Steve Austin and Dwayne? How many more people does WWE legitimately have to rely on? What happens when Edge is finished? I don't understand you. You're going to have to start somehow, some way. When? I don't know. Start now. Should have began 10 fucking years ago. John Cena's saying it. I wonder what the locker room is thinking. But the fact that John Cena said it, WWE knows he said it, or will know he said it, what do they think? Spoiler, they don't give a shit. They're going to do what they want, when they want, with who they want, and fuck Triple H and what he's doing in NXT instead of using the system to better the future of this company. Karrion Kross, speaking of which, sends a message to WWE fans after his loss to Keith Lee on Monday Night Raw. Kross, by the way, is no different than all of the VIPs in catering on Monday Night Raw after 3 weeks. It's a sad state of affairs, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. Kross took to Twitter to send messages to fans after his loss to Keith Lee. He shared a clip from the Great American Bash on July 6th where he stated 3 things he thinks about when he wakes up every morning. Don't lose the NXT title, which he will in about 3 weeks, to Samoa Joe. Headline WrestleMania, good luck with that. And become WWE champion. I don't think this guy realizes yet who he's working for. He wrote, I woke up every day like this for years and it's got me where I've been. It's going to take me to where I know I can go. Stay tuned on all programs. I don't have roadblocks or ceilings, just speed bumps. Oh, you ain't kidding, bro. You ain't kidding. And in the end, they always get run over. TikTok, #adapt with the hourglass emoji, which they now have incorporated into his promos and vignettes on Monday Night Raw. The sands in the hourglass are running out. The burial of Karrion Kross is upon you. Is what they're pretty much subtly telling you without actually telling you. Then they go and have him lose to fucking Keith Lee. Again, second time he lost as NXT champion. Kross also posted a video of him working out, and he stated that he plans to go back to the drawing board with his loss to Keith Lee. Where's Scarlett? That's what I want to know. Why is there such a discrepancy between the main roster and NXT? It's on Tuesday night. It follows Monday Night Raw. Am I not watching a pro wrestling program affiliated with WWE? Or did I misquote Triple H saying that Tuesday night's going to be a great night because we get the lead in from Monday Night Raw? I'm sorry. Did I make a mistake somewhere? Did I mishear him? The guy's the NXT champion, should not be losing. If this guy lost to Joe already and was not the NXT champion, I don't give a fuck what you do with him on the main roster. But the fact that he's the NXT champion only devalues not only NXT, the championship, but it devalues Kross as a champion. And where's Scarlett? She's part of the deal, part of the act, part of the package on Tuesday night. Why do we have to pretend like, oh, they don't know each other? Excuse me. Isn't she going to come out with him on TakeOver 36? Where the fuck has she been? Who was the woman that's come out with him for the last 2 years? Where is she? She sings his fucking theme music. So now Scarlett's going to appear and bring him back to the winning ways. What a stupid fucking gimmick, man. A goddamn 4-year-old could write that shit. Honestly. There's no reason to omit her from the main act on the main roster when we all know it's a part of the NXT brand. Just take it, move it, and apply it. I don't get it. Kross is already buried. I don't give a fuck how many times they plan to tell you, trust the process, it's storytelling, watch what happens, be patient. You only get one opportunity to make a first impression. His first impression was a 90-second loss to Jeff Hardy. Then he beats Keith Lee, which did nothing for both of those guys. It did nothing for Kross. It did nothing for Lee. And now he loses to Keith Lee. 50-50 booking. So you're right back to square one before you actually walked into week 2. Spare me the bullshit. You're a champion on NXT. You're the world champion. You come to the main roster. You win matches. You dominate. You make a name for yourself. You're not treated like a fucking sack of potatoes and thrown out like yesterday's trash. But this is the mentality of WWE. Punish Triple H, punish his talent. They didn't get the job done on Wednesday night. Fuck it all. Kross is going to have a very difficult time on the main roster. He's not a homegrown guy. He's an impact guy that made a big splash in WWE because Triple H had a vision and Vince McMahon doesn't give a fuck about Triple H's vision. Everything Triple H worked on with this guy and Scarlett for 2 years is going to be erased in a month's time. Ronda Rousey, we'll end with this. Go back to the farm, Ronda Rousey. Terrible take on why WWE released Bray Wyatt. Ronda says WWE treated Bray as expendable because ungrateful idiot fans did it first. Ronda Rousey said it was the same people last night. Well, I guess she tweeted this in Tuesday on Twitter. Monday in Chicago, chanting, "We want Wyatt." These are the same people that also chanted, "We want beach balls" at him while he was still in WWE. Ronda Rousey tweeted, and I quote, "I've seen you same fans chanting 'We want Wyatt' during Raw, chanting 'We want beach balls' over Bray Wyatt performing. If the WWE treated him like he was expendable, it was because you ungrateful idiots did it first." End quote. Now, the "We want beach balls" chant happened during a 2017 Finn Balor versus Jason Jordan match in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. And there was a "We want beach balls" chant during the Bray Wyatt-Matt Hardy match at the Elimination Chamber in 2018. Obviously, not all fans are guilty of this, but the vocal minority that show disrespect to the wrestlers at some shows usually get shit on. And those are the people that are really fucking frustrated with the current product. Ronda Rousey's take on this was absolutely fucking ridiculous. I don't think anybody should really be taking Ronda Rousey's take on this as gospel. She isn't a professional wrestler. She's not. I don't think she holds any value in any realm of pro wrestling. Everybody's gonna cite her retreating from the UFC because she got her ass fucking handed to her. So nobody's really gonna take what she says as legitimate. Bray Wyatt was released because of budget cut reasons, is what they said. Bullshit. These are the same fucking fans chanting beach balls, apparently. "We want beach balls," apparently, says Ronda Rousey. These are the same fucking fans that are making Bray Wyatt the #1 merchandise seller in all of WWE before he was released. So, I don't understand the logic behind this statement. We want beach balls. That was a thing that everybody suffered from, not just Bray Wyatt. And why were they chanting "We want beach balls"? Because New York, the fans are assholes, number one. I would know. Number two, this is what happens when people are upset with the show. I don't remember that show, but I'm assuming that beach balls were being thrown around. I'm going to think that the show was awful. So that was a big thing back in the day. That's WWE's way of, or at least in the fans' eyes, the show that they give, the fans are going to revolt and do what they have to do to get their fucking name in the headlines. They're going to do what they can to make sure you know that the show is awful. That's why they did that. Everybody suffered from it. Cesaro and Sheamus were at the forefront of that, just not Bray Wyatt. So I don't understand why she's bringing up something that the entire roster suffered from, not just Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt was released because of creative indifference. The people that bought Bray Wyatt's merchandise are the fans. Everybody was upset with the way he was creatively handled. I don't understand why you're backing Vince McMahon on this. I really don't. Bray Wyatt is mega, super popular amongst the fan base. They know what he's capable of. They want to see him on television. So I don't understand where these fans are labeled idiots or why these fans are labeled idiots. I don't get it. All we wanted was for him to be booked better. No, but it's our fault he got released. The reason why he got released is the same reason why your women's division was fucking buried. As soon as you were gone, what happened? Who did that, Ronda? I don't hear you crying wolf on that. Look at the women's division and where it sits right now. After all the work you did, and I loved what Ronda did with Becky and Asuka and Charlotte. God forbid. Fucking praise for Charlotte. I love what Ronda brought to the women's division. After she left, after WrestleMania, when Becky was champion, what happened? Everything that Ronda did for that one full calendar year was absolutely eradicated. By who? By Vince McMahon, by Bruce Pritchard, by all of Vince McMahon's fucking circus and right-hand men. That's what happened. That's the same fucking team that ruined and buried Bray Wyatt creatively twice. Not once, twice. Took his gimmick, gave it to somebody else, continues to sell merchandise with his fucking liking on it and his creation on it, and WWE releases him to the wild. No, but it's our fault that Bray Wyatt got released and Bray Wyatt got fired. Go back to the fucking Rousey acres and do what you gotta do. Go fucking lay some eggs, chicken eggs. Go milk a fucking cow. Go skin some sheep. Whatever the fuck you do out there. Stop speaking illogical bullshit. Bray Wyatt was released because of not the fans, because of Vince McMahon and his money-hungry, greedy ways, controlling ways. He wanted to own the gimmick, take over the creative control of the gimmick that Bray Wyatt created all by himself to really make a name for himself, and Bray's vision was erased thanks to greedy corporate fucking assholes. That's all that happened. Ronda Rousey's an idiot. Ungrateful fans, give me a break. All these ungrateful fans wanted was somebody that they loved in Bray Wyatt to be booked creatively better. Not buried to Bill Goldberg in 3 minutes in Saudi Arabia. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Hopefully you enjoyed the extra. I appreciate all your support. Make sure you follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. And if you guys want to go check out all the other videos that I've uploaded on the channel, all the live streams this week and last week, go and check them out. They are on the homepage, categorized in their own playlists, man. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and hit that thumbs up. I'll see you guys back here live tomorrow night for Friday Night SmackDown. Until then, guys, enjoy your Thursday, and I will see you back here live Friday on Off the Script.